I've caught you in like 5 lies in about 2 minutes because you cannot remember what bull story or sentence you said 30 seconds ago. Am I wrong?
No, I have a memory problem. I've been trying to tell you guys
you're
that.
full of We've already talked to
Can
you,
I have
doctor.
a paper so I can maybe...
You want to write down your lies? You want to write down a good journal? You're full of
Brittany, Gosney, and James Hamilton lived together with their 3 children, ages 6, 7, and 9. To say they were neglectful parents would be an understatement. James was prone to anger, often expressing his frustration through violence, while Brittany showed little interest in the responsibilities of motherhood. Dinner, on the rare nights Brittany felt like preparing it, typically consisted of microwavable Hot Pocket. Their home was in a state of disarray, unsanitary and unfit for children, and the kids were often left unwashed and uncared for. By March of 2021, Brittany and James had become desperate to avoid the burdens of parenting. One day, they went to the police station to report that their 6-year-old child, James, was missing. Their approach immediately raised suspicion, as parents usually call 911 in such emergencies. Detectives separated Brittany and James for questioning and began their investigation into the child's disappearance.
Including you, we're here for the same reason, trying to get some idea, some clue, some even remote idea as to what happened with James is his name, right? So everyone, but whatever. But again, we have got to find this whole fellow.
Oh, yes.
We have got to.
Believe me, that's the best thing I want.
So let me start off. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Really,
the only thing I want.
Well, good. Now, how many kids total are there?
3.
Let's start with the oldest one. Are these your children?
No, they're
okay.
Biological.
Okay, but you've been with Brittany for how long?
About 9 months now.
Okay, so they're coming up on being your kids, but just kind of take me. Let's start yesterday afternoon at about noon. Yesterday at about 12 o'clock.
The detectives quickly sensed that something was off with Brittany and James. Typically, frantic parents of a missing child would call 911 immediately and start searching the neighborhood in a state of panic, desperate to find their child. But this couple had simply shown up at the police station, calmly recounting the situation without urgency or distress. Now, as they sat separately in interrogation rooms, neither Brittany nor James displayed any emotion or concern for their 6-year-old's disappearance.
So all 3 of the kids, you and Brittany, were at home watching television.
Yes, sir.
Now, with that being said, I never made it in your house, so I may ask you a bunch of dumb questions, just like where things were. So where is the television?
When you first walked through the front door of the living room.
Kind of in the living room watching TV. What were you guys watching? Do you remember?
Kids cartoons.
Okay.
I don't really pay attention.
Sure, I got you. So you guys have got, 3 cars?
Yes.
Okay. Have you had problems with people bothering your shit before?
When I first moved up here, I had an ATV stolen off.
Oh, did it?
I made a police report.
Right. Where were you living at then?
Over on Woodside.
Okay.
As we've covered in earlier videos, the detective begins by asking James questions he knows James will answer truthfully. By observing James's body language while he tells the truth, the detective can establish a baseline to recognize when he might be lying later on.
What time did you guys eat dinner?
It was around 6:30, 7 o'clock.
Did you guys go get something, or did Brittany or you make something?
Brittany cooked.
What did she make?
She made pizza rolls for the kids, and me and her just snacked on stuff.
Okay.
I ain't really having an appetite being sick.
Oh, I believe it. So that's about 6:30, you just said.
We put the kids to bed.
Okay.
When they separated from me and Brittany. And then about 10:30, me and Brittany went to bed.
What's the next thing that you remember?
I got up around 3:45,
Okay.
and I went through the room. rooms, noticed the boy James was gone. I went down. I got a look in the front door. It was locked. I looked at the back side door. It's unlocked.
So both of them were locked?
No, it was unlocked.
Oh, unlocked. The back
side door was unlocked.
After a healthy dinner of pizza rolls, James claims that they put the children to bed and then went to sleep themselves. Around 4 o'clock in the morning, he says he checked on the kids, only to discover that 6-year-old James was missing.
At what point did you wake up the kids or Brittany to make sure they didn't know where little James was?
Well, it was around about 8:30 this morning. I woke back up with everybody, and we all went looking again, and then we couldn't find them nowhere. We came here.
Sure. What's your gut feeling of what you think happened to little James?
I don't know. I'm hoping he's somewhere there in the neighborhood hiding.
Does he have any friends that he hangs out with?
None I'm aware of.
Does he have any of the parks that he likes to go to?
Any parks. I mean, he's ready to swing, anything will be on it.
Okay. Well, like I said, I really appreciate you talking to me. And we're still trying to get to the bottom of all this, and obviously you and Brittany are our number one sources of information that's going to help us right now. But we got to find him. I'm sure you want him found as bad as we do.
I'd like to go as soon as possible before I go back out looking for him.
Sure. Well, you hold tight right here, and if you need something, knock on the door. I'm going to go check and see what else they can come up with, and maybe I got good news.
Now it's time for the detectives to sit down with Brittany and hear her side of the story. By questioning the couple separately, they can compare each person's statements and identify any inconsistencies. If one of them lies, there's a strong chance the other will contradict their story. However, the detectives are also aware that Brittany and James might have rehearsed their answers and memorized responses to certain questions. This is why the detectives ask so many questions, looking for any slip-ups that might reveal the truth.
Was the 6-year-old get in trouble last night?
Yeah, he got in trouble for something. I remember what it was.
You don't remember what it was? Okay. What was the punishment last night? Corner?
I don't really like putting my hands on my kids.
That's okay. That's fine. Some people don't. You guys, what'd you have for dinner last night?
They had pizza rolls and chips.
The kids did? Okay. They're telling me that James had gotten in trouble for something, and that he wasn't given pizza rolls, but he was given bread instead, because that was his punishment. You remember that?
No, we gave him like lunch meat sandwiches at lunchtime.
And then all 3 of them, you're saying, got pizza rolls last night? Why would the kids tell me that?
Before speaking with Brittany, the detective asks the children a few questions, including what they had for dinner the previous night. The children confirm the pizza rolls story but add that 6-year-old James, who was being punished, was only given a slice of bread. When the detective enters the room to speak with Brittany, he brings this detail up immediately.
I don't never make them go without any milk.
I know that.
I'd rather go without before that.
I understand what you're saying. I'm just trying to figure out what they're talking about, what the kids are talking about. Basically, I'm waiting for my guy to come here. He's going to do the polygraph for me, and we'll just kind of go from there. I got guys out canvassing the neighborhood, so we're actively looking for James.
Okay.
Little James is what I call him now, because we got Big James in there.
It's confusing, I understand.
So we're looking for James now. Don't think we're just sitting here talking to you. I got a bunch of people out doing that.
I was going to say, is anybody even out there looking for him?
Yes, 100%.
Because I'm sure brother and sisters worry about their little brother.
Right. Your daughter also said sometimes Big James doesn't get along with Little James. What would she mean by that?
I I do.
Does little James get any more or less trouble than the other two?
They all get
Right.
about the same.
They're all close to the same age. They all, yeah, okay. So,
I know James does like being mean to them, so taking their toy away.
all little James.
Yes, not that.
I got you.
How about I just say my son?
Yeah, that'll work. All right.
After only a few minutes of speaking with Brittany, the detective leaves the room. He has seen enough to know the couple is hiding something. He realizes he was just face to face with a mother who had supposedly lost her child, yet she didn't shed a single tear, and even laughed by the end of their conversation. Now, the detective knows he needs a confession, and he decides to speak with James first.
No, well, you've been here a little while, and you said whenever we walked in the door that we all wanted the same thing, and that's just our little James. I basically don't. I've got other officers out doing a bunch of stuff. I've got other officers that are out checking vacant buildings. They're out pulling videos from surveillance cameras that are in the neighborhood around there, and it's kind of like, I really don't have anything else to do right now other than to go back, kind of retrace steps, go over things again.
I'm starting to get hungry. I'd like to go home.
After reading James his rights, the detective decides that the best way to get a confession is to tell him that Brittany has already confessed everything. It's a risky tactic, as they have no real information yet, just the assumption that the child is no longer alive. Confronting James so directly without concrete evidence could easily backfire if he catches on. Still, the detective knows exactly what he's doing, and he's betting that this approach will push James to reveal the truth.
Hey, James.
Yes, sir.
Talked to you out there at your house.
Yes, sir.
A few minutes. I just talked to my girlfriend there, and I'm terrible with names. What's her name?
Brittany.
Brittany. All right, now she's told me most of the truth, okay? She's saying she don't remember where he's at, but she's told me about he's dead, okay? And that you guys were together, okay?
What do you want to know, sir?
I need to know where the body's at.
That I do not know. As for me being with her and the kids, no, sir, I was not.
Okay, and we can talk about that
I
later.
got home.
We can talk about if you were there or not later, okay? She's saying all five of you were together, and this is what happened, okay? I'm not going to go into details what she told me there.
The detective is cautious, avoiding any specific details about the case. If he slips up with an inaccurate detail, James might catch on that they're bluffing. Many people don't realize that officers are legally allowed to lie during an interrogation, and James appears unaware of this too. Watch as the detective skillfully draws answers from James without actually knowing anything.
Okay, so at this point...
Well, what did she tell you that happened, sir?
Well, I know that he's dead, and I know that his body's somewhere, and I need to figure out... I'm wanting right now to recover his body is really important to me, because it gives closure to both of you guys. Okay, that's the most important thing. We can go into detail later, that when it's happened. Okay, because surely she's smart enough to tell you, even if you weren't with her, okay, you got to take some ownership of this, okay? Don't minimize anything.
The ownership I would take of it where I didn't call when she brought the body home, sir.
Okay. Where is the body then? When she brought the body home, what did she say she did with it?
She didn't tell me, sir. It happened up at Rush Run Park. It's where it happened at.
It happened in Rush Run.
Yes, she was supposed to take the kids up there, give them a scare tactic.
Right.
Drop them off for a few minutes, turn around and go get them. Because they all was acting up real bad.
Right.
James explains that their 3 children had been misbehaving, so as a scare tactic to get them to listen, Brittany took them to a remote area outside of town. The plan was to frighten the children into thinking they would be abandoned in the middle of nowhere if they didn't behave. James claims that little James tripped and fell, and the fall ultimately ended his life. After realizing what had happened, Brittany brought the child's body back home to where James was waiting.
It's an accident.
But now, so when she brought the body back to the house.
She brought the body back to the house.
And what's the conversation then?
conversation.
Not even freaking out.
I was. I
Okay.
told her. I mean, she called me.
So, did she leave? You're saying she brought the body back home, though?
Yes.
Okay, where was the body at when you saw it?
Upstairs in his bedroom.
In his bedroom. And
What time?
When was all this? A couple days ago? Yesterday, today?
Friday night.
It was Friday night, so we're into Sunday now. We were Sunday morning. And how did you guys come up with the idea of, well, we're going to have to report him missing at some point, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That was her idea, sir.
Okay. So she brings the body home. Is it in the bedroom? And then what happens? Even if you yourself went out totally by yourself and got rid of it, I just need to know where. You're
still helping your wife.
The detectives commend James for trying to protect his wife and assure him that by being honest, he's helping himself. However, they are careful not to make any promises, knowing that a confession made after a promise would not hold up in court. James believes that Brittany has already confessed everything, including that he was there at the time of the accident. He thinks his best strategy is to distance himself from the crime, but as he keeps talking, he doesn't realize he's only digging himself deeper into trouble.
I don't know exactly where it was, sir.
Okay, were you with her when the body was dumped?
Yes.
Okay. If we went out driving, did you take it back up to Rush Run?
We wasn't up the Rush Run, man. He's off a bridge. He's in the river.
Okay. What bridge? Middletown Bridge?
No. Cincinnati.
Down in Cincinnati?
Well, it's the bridge that goes from Kentucky to Indiana.
Okay. What time of day or night is this?
This was about 3 o'clock this morning.
This morning? Okay. What did you do with the other two kids go with you then?
No, they was at home and bed asleep.
Alright, so both of you guys get up. We gotta do something. And then take him down to Cincinnati off 71, you're thinking?
275, yeah.
Okay, and just did you throw him off the bridge or did you?
Hold him off the bridge.
Was it like a stream or was it the actual river?
The actual river.
The Ohio River, the big one.
Yes.
Fine, but you're doing good. I know this is hard on you, alright? Look at me. I know this is hard on you.
Now I'm going to jail just for helping her, though.
Okay, we can figure all that out.
Okay, listen, this ain't fair to me.
It ain't fair to the little boy either. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
I told her that. I mean, when she called me and told me she's at the wrong place, I told her, fucking turn around, come home. Turn around, come home.
At the wrong place. You mean a Rush Run?
At Rush Run.
Okay.
What was her plan then? Because he didn't accidentally get fall.
I don't know, sir. I mean, the story she told me when she came home, 1 minute it was he had the handle door and she took off and he fell.
On the car? On the van?
On my van.
Okay.
And the next minute it was that he was chasing after her, tripped and fell.
So she told you a couple different stories?
Yes.
With this new information, the detectives decide it's time to leave James and speak with Brittany. Not only have they confirmed the crime, but they now have additional details. They know the accident story doesn't add up and that there's more to the situation. When they confront Brittany, they lay out everything James has told them, all while she remains unemotional, without shedding a single tear. Brittany then shares her version of the event.
You're just trying to figure out, just hold on, exactly what you were thinking. Why? Because from what you've said, and please correct me if I'm wrong,
Okay.
James told you, I want the kids gone, I don't want to see them no more.
Yes.
When you loaded up in the car with the kids, you left Crawford Street with all 3 kids.
Yes.
James was in that house.
Yes.
He wanted you to take them somewhere and never bring them back.
Yes.
Okay. So you're confused. You care about James.
And I also.
You care about James, right?
Yes.
So you take off driving.
Yes.
So you get to Rush Run, and did you tell them, hey, hop out and pee or the date?
Well, at first they said I have to pee. I said,
Okay.
okay, well, go ahead and go to the bathroom.
You got out and you went in through the side door.
The side back door, yes.
Right, and you lifted him out.
Yes.
Set him on the ground.
Yes. I didn't throw him or anything. I just set him down.
Sure. Nobody's saying you did. So once he's on the ground, what happens then?
I went to go pull off.
Where was James whenever you backed up and pulled out? Little James.
Well, I wasn't all the way into the parking spot. I was just like halfway there, not all the way there. When I went to go pull away, I'm guessing he had the handle.
Right.
And,
Brittany believes that if she can convince the detectives it was simply an accident, she'll be fine. She carefully provides every little detail, thinking that offering a detailed story will make her lie more believable. People often do this, assuming that more details will make their version of events seem more credible. Brittany claims that after leaving the children miles from home, she was driving away when little James grabbed the car door handle.
and then I went to go drive off, and he, of course, had a handle. When I looked, he didn't have it. And then I heard kids screaming. I don't remember. I thought it was for sure Rachel, but they both, I don't know.
Why were they screaming? Because you were leaving them?
Yes.
Okay.
Because they knew I wasn't never just going.
Sure.
So, they were standing by the bathroom stall, whatever it is, and James was kind of standing close to them, but not that close.
Sure.
And as I showed you on the paper, I just went around him and didn't realize he had the handle.
Did you see him grabbing a handle?
No.
Okay, you're just.
But when I kind of I'm assuming he grabbed the handle because I kind of pulled him a little bit, not much, and he got up and then fell back down. I guess I kind of probably made him hurt his knee on the ground or something, and he lost his balance, and he tried to catch his balance. He didn't get to, and he fell and busted his head on the ground.
For nearly an hour, the detectives go over every tiny detail of the day of the accident. They do this because they plan to ask the same questions again later. If Brittany is lying, she'll struggle to remember all the specifics, but if she's telling the truth, recalling the answers will come easily. The detectives then ask Brittany what happened after the accident. They still don't believe that a simple trip and fall could have caused such an injury, but for now, they focus on gathering more information from her to build their case.
So when you got back home with James, you come back with the kids. How do you bring James? Do you just carry James into the house, or does James go out and get him?
I carried him in.
Okay.
Where are the clothes that you were wearing when you carried them in?
Sitting on top of laundry basket.
Are they dirty?
Yeah.
Right, I got you.
So you carry the boy back inside. Have you already contacted James and told him what happened? Okay, by text or by call?
It was a text.
You sent him a text?
Yes, and then he called me, told me to bring him back because he couldn't get James to listen.
So you bring the kid back, you carry the kid in, and then what happens? Where do you put the kid? Where do you put James?
I just laid him on the when you walk in the door, that room right there, on the floor.
The front, when you walk in the front
living room?
Yes, the front room.
So the living room?
Where the couch is, yes.
You laid him?
I laid him on the floor.
Okay.
The bare floor. And he took him upstairs.
James took him upstairs.
And put him in the bedroom.
We're going to give you a few minute break, and then we'll be right back.
Do you need anything? You need another restroom? You need anything?
I wish I had an anxiety med.
With enough information gathered, the detectives are ready to book both Brittany and James into the local county jail. They plan to interrogate the couple again the following day, after taking some time to regroup and refine their line of questioning. They'll ask many of the same questions, looking for inconsistencies in their responses. By creating doubt between Brittany and James, making them question each other and focus on their own self-interest, the detectives hope to uncover more details about what really happened that day.
So, kind of where we are right now is we talked for a while yesterday, and I'm sure you were kind of jacked up and excited, which is totally understandable. And I think you were mostly honest with us yesterday.
I was 100% honest with you.
So, where we're at right now is Brittany has given a lot of information that makes sense. We've been able to corroborate some of it. There were a few things in particular that I wanted to ask you about. Right now we're at the point where we're kind of missing some pieces.
What the detectives need now is a clear motive. While they remain skeptical of the accident story, they know they need more information to build their case. They begin by questioning James about the children, specifically asking when their behavior started to spiral out of control.
You've already kind of explained a lot of your involvement, so the missing pieces are quasi-irrelevant. They're not super important, but I need these pieces just to tie everything together. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So we're into Wednesdays. If any of them get in trouble, any of them fight with each other, any of them fall down the stairs.
Pretty much in trouble, sir.
Right.
They always was lying to us.
Mm-hmm. About what?
Everything. I mean, we asked them one little simple question, and no, I didn't do that, and we know they did.
Mm-hmm.
And they just, everything.
It's kind of all three of them, a continual behavioral problem.
Yes.
At what point did the kids really start being an issue?
Well, one minute they'd be an issue, we punish them, put them in a corner. We tried mass things with these kids, make them have canned goods in their hands, tippy toes, fingertips on the walls. Nothing was working with them. Nothing at all. Me and her started getting into it real hot and heavy over it. I told her, I said, I can't be putting up with this. I said, I just left this same relationship because of the same issues.
Sure.
About 2 months ago. Yes. And then I kept arguing with her.
That's when everything really started jumping
I kept telling her, I said, either you need to find somewhere to go with you and your disrespectful kids.
Right.
Or I'm leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess she got tired that night when me and her got into it. She went up there, took them, kept telling me she's going to take them and drop them off. I said, I don't care what you do.
Right.
I said, you go ahead and take my bed, do whatever you want with them.
Sure.
I mean, I wasn't refusing her a vehicle to where she could take them to her sisters, her moms, something.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing I know, I get that text from her.
And what the text said?
On my way back, he's dead.
The detective now aims to determine how involved James was in the crime. If James had no prior knowledge of what was about to happen, the situation would be very different than if he had been aware from the start. While he is already facing charges for covering up the crime and failing to report it, his level of involvement could drastically affect the outcome. If he was complicit from the beginning, he could be facing a much harsher sentence, possibly even life in prison.
She told me she was taking them up to Rush Run and dropping them off. Me and her done it twice before as a scare tactic.
Had taken them up to Rush Run?
We dropped them off right there by the bathroom. I drive out by the exit there, turn around right back in.
Right.
Well, they learned something. They'd be all right for 2-3 days and then had to bring back up.
How long would you guys normally leave them there?
Just long enough to drive right out to the road, turn around right back in.
So maybe 10 minutes. Maybe.
Not even that. 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay. So, when she left with them, it was your understanding that she was not bringing them back. She was going to drop them off somewhere.
I didn't know exactly where she was dropping them off. I mean, she said that she was taking them to restaurant.
But she told you that when she left?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought she was just going to, like I said, we did a couple other times, turn around and pick them up. And I was thinking about calling the police on her. I told her that, and she started crying, begging me not to.
Right.
I mean, I love her. I care about her. So I did. I mean, I fucked up.
Yeah, I get it.
I fucked up.
So you told her to go back and get him?
Yeah.
And she did?
Yes.
And again,
and I also told her, I said, you should have called the police when it happened. I said, at least then it would have been an act.
It's surprising how many people continue talking to the police without a lawyer, even after they've been arrested. Now that the detectives have established a motive, it's time to figure out what really happened. If it had been an accident, they would have reported it right away and had no reason to lie. The detective then asks James if he believes Brittany is lying. This question is designed to build trust with James, as he will think the detective is on his side and believes his version of events.
So what's your gut? Do you think it was an accident? How did she explain?
She told me 2 or 3 different stories about it. I mean, like I told you yesterday, one minute she told me he had to hold up the handle of the van, one minute he didn't.
Right.
Then all of a sudden, he had to hold up the handle of the van. Did you run him over? No. I swear to God I didn't run him over. I asked the other 2 kids because they were supposed to have seen it all. They said no, she did not run him over.
Right. So how did James get moved from the car to the house?
She did.
Okay. So when she brought him in, where did she put him?
Laid him in the living room floor right there as soon as she walked in. She took off her coat, hung it up, sat down beside me.
Which coat was she wearing?
That pink one. Corners though.
So he was laying in the living room floor, and did he stay there until he was taken elsewhere?
No, I got tired of him laying there myself. I carried him up, stuck him in the front bedroom upstairs.
Okay. The front bedroom. Was that the little one?
No.
Which bedroom was that?
You go straight up the steps and straight in.
Okay. And what, did you lay him on a mattress or on a blanket, on a rug?
I just laid him on the floor.
Flat on the floor.
I was trying to get her to go ahead and call the police there. She didn't want to. She was worried about going to jail. She ain't never been in jail a day in her life at that. I have been.
Sure.
Told her, if anything, I can't see you go to jail and be without your babies. And I told her, I said, I'll step up to the plate and take the fall for everything.
James then explains how he and Brittany placed little James into their car and drove to a local bridge. They felt they needed to dispose of any evidence, and the easiest way to do that, in their minds, was to throw it over the bridge and into the river.
Took off about halfway across the bridge, stopped, put it in park. She grabbed his feet, I grabbed his shoulders and threw him.
You guys pull up. You guys see a car and you pull over right before the bridge, or 100 yards before the bridge.
About 100 yards.
Right around there. You wait, you go by. As soon as that happens, you guys pull up and there's really not much room there.
She jumps out.
Okay.
I didn't even open my driver's door. I just climbed around. She opened the side slider door, grabbed his feet, I grabbed his shoulders. Nothing I'm aware of, sir. I mean, as soon as we let her go, I jumped right back in the van. When we got going she looked at me and said, I heard him hit, and kind of giggled about it even.
Right. So, did you see him, did he float? Did you see him floating?
I don't know. I had no idea. He got straight back in the van and we took off.
No, and again, that's kind of where we are. You're worried entirely too much about what she said. No, listen. I want the whole truth too. That's why you know the whole truth. You're sitting here fishing me to see what I know, and I've been fished by the best of them, and I'm not going to be a dick about it, but you ain't the best.
James tries to outsmart the detective by fishing for answers he thinks Brittany would give, but the detective is sharp and quickly calls him out, shutting him down. In that moment, James realizes that instead of guessing what Brittany might say, he should just tell the truth. He admits that they didn't simply dispose of the evidence. They realized they would need an anchor to keep it submerged in the water.
Okay, I've got a lot of info here.
She wanted something to help hold him down in the water. There was a brick tied to his chest.
There's a brick tied to him?
Yes.
What kind of brick?
About this long, about that thick.
Like a cinder block brick, or like what kind of brick?
Something like a cinder block brick. It's more like a yard walking stone brick. I mean, it's about this long, like that was said.
Right. Where'd you get the brick? You go out of the back of your yard, and you go to the right down the alley, or to the left down the alley?
To the right.
So you went to the right. Did you go to the cross alley, or did you go on? So you go to the cross alley and you make a left.
Yeah.
See, this is how this works. I know a load of information about this. A lot of it's been confirmed, and I've ruled out some of it. Well, some of it that you told us initially. Now, with that being said, I'm not holding that against you, because you're a little bit freaked out. But here's where we are. Right now is going to be one of your only opportunities to genuinely show me that you're going to cooperate. This is good. This is good, because I knew all.
The detective had no prior knowledge about the brick and the rope, but he tells James that he already knows about them and that he believes James is telling the truth. This is a risky move, as if James were lying and the detective confirmed the false details, James would recognize that the detective was bluffing. However, the detective processes the information quickly and responds with a brilliant question. Drawing on his knowledge that little James's body is anchored beneath the bridge in cold water, he tells James that the cold water will preserve any evidence that could prove it wasn't an accident after all.
So, I'm going to ask you a very, very big question that and regardless of what you think you know about forensics, I don't know everything about forensics, but I've been told by several forensic people that we've got quite a long time that we can still find him due to water conditions and still be able to determine how he died. I'll just say it like that. And that water is kind of deep right there, so it's going to be even colder. So basically, he's going to be pretty much preserved, and we're going to find him if, in fact, that's where you guys put it. That's why it's very important that you're totally honest. Because the story about when, where, and why, okay, you dropped him off on your first trip over that bridge.
No, second.
Third.
I'm sorry, because I went up, I turned around, came back across it. Mm-hmm. We got off at Orangeburg there, turned around, and came back on.
Okay,
and that's when I pulled over, stopped, and wait.
So, right. Well, and you see, this is making it a lot easier. And I can already tell your shoulders have dropped a little bit. Dude, I know a lot of this stuff. You know, you drove instead of riding the shotgun. That doesn't change any of this. You were still there with her during this. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like, don't look ahead. Don't read into what I'm asking you. The charges, it's already happened, whatever you guys did. It's just a matter of figuring out exactly when and where. Hold on. Hey. And just keep it, it's a matter of figuring out exactly who, what, and where did what.
For the next 2 hours, the detective meticulously breaks down James's story, pressing for as many details as possible. They now have enough to charge James with tampering with a body and child endangerment, but they still lack sufficient evidence to charge him with anything more serious. The detective tells James that as long as he's honest and wasn't present when the crime occurred, he should be fine. What they don't realize, however, is that once they're done with James, Brittany is prepared to tell them everything.
So, with that being said, you suggest to Brittany that if the kids weren't here, if you took the kids out and left them to run and let whatever happened to them happen to them, you didn't make her do that.
No, sir, I never held no knife to her, never, nothing like that.
So, just because you make a suggestion, if I walk out here and tell somebody in the street, hey, I think you ought to go rob that bank, and they go do it, is that on me? If they're not...
I don't really know how that would work by law, sir.
Well, it's not. See, the thing I'm getting at here is I think you're trying, for the most part, to be on her, that if you said that to her, but she did it on her own and you stayed at home and you didn't have any part in her leaving the kids out there, and like I'm saying, leaving them supposedly permanently, okay? That, you're still at home. You weren't in the car when that happened, were you?
No, sir.
Okay.
I mean, I loved them kids like that. It was my own. I was trying to give them what was best for them.
Right. Okay. Hold tight. I'll be right back. So, you tell me right now, what was the plan when she left Crawford Street that once she got out there, you got cold feet about? Supposedly told her to come back. What did she tell you she was going to do with those three kids when she left Crawford?
One of the things she told me she was going to do with them was drop them off, sir, and I swear to God on that.
What'd she tell you? How did James get killed?
I never got a straight out story.
No. Eventually, there's no way in hell that she didn't tell you, okay, trying to help you out with. Okay, I can't...
She did this. You didn't.
I'm telling you everything.
All I want to know is what she told you she was going to do with them kids. That's it. Because it doesn't make sense.
All she told me she was going to do with them kids was drop them off.
The detectives push James, trying to get him to admit whether he knew what Brittany was planning before she left their home. If James had known what was going to happen and didn't try to stop it, he would be in much deeper trouble. However, James sticks to his story, insisting that all he knew was that Brittany was taking the children to drop them off and would then come home. Realizing they're not going to get any more information from him, the detectives decide to return to Brittany for further questioning.
Okay, I need a shower. Like, you can see, I'm breaking out everywhere.
I'll ask him. I'll go back there and talk to him as soon as I drop you back off. I got a question for you, though. Are you willing to talk to me about what happened?
Yeah.
First off, I need to know why you guys are down in Richmond, Indiana, at Walmart.
I didn't go to any Walmart.
You did not go to any Walmart?
No, that's why I'm looking at you like, what are you talking about?
Did he take the kids and go to Walmart?
He might have. I don't know.
Okay.
I've not
seen the video
does
yet.
stuff when I'm sleeping. So how am I supposed to know anything?
Well, I mean, you're not sleeping 24/7.
My meds would let me. I'd be sleeping 24/7.
All right. Is he really where you said you dumped him?
My son?
Yes.
Yes. That's where he dumped him.
Okay, but you were with him.
Yes,
okay.
that is where
you guys went to do
yes.
it. That's legit.
And yes, he said to make sure we dumped him on that side because of the currency or something goes this way. I don't know nothing about the water.
Right. So it doesn't matter.
Even though it was an accidental.
I think it was, but you went there to dispose of your kid, to leave your kids out there is what you went to do, huh?
I went to go there to drop them off, not to harm them or anything.
Okay, but you're still abandoning your children.
Brittany still thinks that claiming it was an accident will result in a lesser charge, but the detective makes it clear that this is not the case and that she will face the maximum charges for her crime. Brittany realizes that this is her final opportunity to say something that could clear her name. Otherwise, her life as she knows it will be over.
Okay,
So it doesn't matter either way. What I'm trying to get at is, I still don't think you're being totally honest with me about how he died, to be quite frank with you. Okay? For some reason, you're minimizing the fact that you drug him. Okay?
He asked me, I didn't.
Was there any other means used to harm your child by you or by your boyfriend?
Okay, you gotta explain better than that, cause.
Okay, so if you tell me the truth and say, hey, no, this is really what happened, this is how, then I just want to know the truth of the matter. Because when we recover him, an autopsy is going to show.
And we're going to recover him. This ain't out yet, but they found him on sonar. They think they found him in sonar.
Sonar is?
Sonar's like an X-ray for the water. This is the issue with you. You're right. We're right in the middle of a conversation. Now, you can't hold a thought to carry on a conversation because you're all over the place. And honestly, I think it's because you're full of shit and you don't want to just talk and have a conversation about what the subject matter is. Was he alive when you went to the park?
Suddenly, Brittany's story takes a dramatic turn. She claims that her son was already dead in the van on the way to drop off the children. This seems to be her last-ditch attempt to shift the blame onto James, as she spins a tale about how he took their child's life in a fit of rage. When asked why she didn't call the authorities, she explains that James had taken her phone. For the first time in nearly 10 hours of interrogation footage, Brittany begins to cry.
The youngest baby.
He wasn't responding when he got out of the van.
Where at?
Remember when I told you when we got there, he wasn't.
When you got
So he was already dead before you got there? Yes or no?
Yeah, he had to, because he wasn't.
Okay, then how did he die?
Whatever James did to him upstairs.
Okay, you need to tell me that. What did James do?
The kid, all three
kids. You can ask all three of them.
Because I know he hog-tied them.
Yeah,
okay.
And he was beating them.
Why didn't you call us?
He wouldn't let me have a phone.
Okay, so he's dead before you even take him out of the house. Is that correct?
Yeah, I didn't know it.
Who loaded him up in the car? So he didn't walk to the car?
The kids, like, basically helped him to the car.
Helped who?
The other two kids helped James to the car.
Your two other kids carried dead James to the car.
He, like...
Okay, you're fucking lying.
No, am I not making this sense?
Brittany is obviously lying as she comes up with terrible answers. The detectives ask questions quickly. Try not to give her any time to think of more lies. She becomes so flustered she even says that her other children helped carry little James out of the car. And then she asks the detectives if anything she is saying is making any sense at all.
You're going to sit here and tell me and tell us that your two other babies carried youngest one to the car.
Oh, God.
So then you really didn't drag James?
No, that's why I keep trying to tell y'all. I didn't do anything to that little boy.
You did? Yeah, you did. You didn't help him, number one. Okay? You're a grown-ass adult. That's a little baby.
Yeah.
How many times, what are they going to say about you hitting on him?
You know, I'm not really hitting on them at all. I make them stand in the corner.
What are they going to say about you hitting on them that night with James upstairs?
They're probably just going to say I whipped their butt. That's about it. Like you said, you do your children.
Right.
But I don't punch them, leave bruises, nothing. That's all James.
And then what?
And then I told him, well, I'm about to go up there and untie him because the kids don't deserve this.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, if you do, I'm going to shoot your ass.
Okay. You tell the kids he wants me to get rid of you guys.
Yeah, exactly what I told him.
And then what?
It took me like 10 minutes to make sure they were all downstairs from getting changed and whatever they had to do upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
So once they all got downstairs, I took them out to the van.
Mm-hmm.
I make sure they buckled up.
What did James say to all this? He's telling you something specific, I would assume. What's the conversation between you and James? How does he want you to get rid of him?
He just told me to take him to the run. He just said rush run.
And do what?
He just told me to take him there and drop him off.
Okay.
So I took him there and dropped him off.
Okay. So now you're up at rush run. Okay, just you and the 3 children.
Mm-hmm.
Now what happens?
I told the kids to get out.
Okay.
And then that's when James didn't want to get out, or he didn't even answer me.
So the 2 kids get out?
Yes.
Okay.
James would not answer me for nothing.
Okay.
And I was back there kind of like shaking his arm, trying to get him to talk to me, and he wouldn't say anything.
Okay. Sitting there. At what point do you drive off?
Like 5 minutes later.
After listening to Brittany tell yet another story, the detective has had just about enough of it. He is sitting there listening to a mother describe the passing of her son as if she was telling him about a trip to the grocery store. The detective knows he is seated across from a cold-hearted monster, and he is about to lose control.
I'm about to lose my temper, and I'm trying not to. I'm going to take a break.
Do you want to talk to me or no? You probably don't because you're not going to tell me the truth. You've sat back there in that jail and you've tried to come up with some excuse for the, hold on, let me move over here. I'm too close to you. Because you've sat back there in that, just listen, okay? You've sat back there in that jail and you've tried to come up with some reason to justify you not getting charged with murder. Here's where we are, okay? There's no doubt in my mind you took those kids out there to leave them.
Out there.
You took them out there hoping no one would ever see them, find them, or you would never see them or hear from them again. Is that a safe assumption?
Yes.
Brittany was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 21 years. As of the making of this video, James has not yet been sentenced, but he faces up to 19 years for his involvement in the crime. I hope you found this video informative. If you did, please consider subscribing. It's free and helps the channel grow. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.